Sports Talk with PlayerAgent3. My next guest, former Georgia Tech basketball star, Atlanta, Georgia native, Mr. Quinton Stephens. How you doing?
I'm doing well. It's good to be here. I'm glad we were able to get connected.
Yeah, man. Yep. How's everything been with this COVID-19 with the family?
Well, the family's doing well. Everyone's had to make their adjustments. You know, my mom was a Spanish and sign language teacher, so along with the teacher, she had to kind of transition to the virtual teaching setting, which she's adjusted well to. My sister managed to get a job out of all this, which is pretty awesome. But yeah, everyone's kind of doing their thing. I've had to make my adjustments personally, just with you know, coming back from injury, recognizing that you know, the game can stop just like that. I mean, we're not having a pandemic every year, but at the same time, it's kind of been a realization to realize that, you know, like, one, the injury helped me realize that, you know, hoops can stop at any moment. And then two, this is just like another reminder, like, you know, you want to have multiple streams of income coming in, and also like a hefty savings, you know, account at the end of the day. So there's been a couple lessons out of this whole quarantine situation, but it's been rewarding.
Yeah, you got a new look. I see you cut the curls off. You going with the bald head now?
You know what? This happened like 2 days ago. 2 days ago, I decided just to go bald, and I'm starting like a little note section in my phone, like, you know, what I learned from being bald for 30 days. So one, it's a discipline. You got to, you know, your hair don't stop growing. So you got to stay on top of it if you want the smooth look. And two, it's just like kind of pushing me outside my comfort zone. I never gone bald before. And I realized the first time I went out in public, I was riding my bike, and like right when I got the car, I was like, these kids are walking by. I was like, man, why am I shuddering right now? Like, why do I feel like an insecurity? You know what I mean? So I'm starting to learn the small things like that about myself, and it's been refreshing though. It's been cool so far.
So you grew up in Atlanta. Talk about growing up in Atlanta and how basketball played an important role in your life growing up in ATL. Yeah,
I mean, really looking back at it, I'm seeing how big of a powerhouse Atlanta is in not only basketball, but like just all the big sports in general. I have a lot of friends and teammates that are in some of the top leagues in the world right now. And I really started playing ball from my dad. He's from Philly. And he played overseas as well. And I started off, I'd say about 10 years old. We were in the AAU circuit. And at that point, you know, I'm just trying to have fun, see some friends. But things got tough. And mainly between my dad and I, just because, you know, I wanted my dad back. And he was just coaching me. He was always the coach. So I actually quit basketball for a little over a year. And then I got back into it. Had one game of making a couple threes, and ever since then I started shooting the ball. that's really what got me to stand out overall.
Yeah,
all my peers in Atlanta.
Now, did you get a chance to play for? Now I know Atlanta had some legendary AAU programs. I know that the Atlanta Celtics, they were big on the AAU circuit. Did you get a chance to play for any of those teams down in Atlanta?
Yeah, I played for the Atlanta Express, so we were really rivals with the Celtics and the Stars. We were like that first Under Armour team. So I played under Coach Winfred Jordan, and you know, with guys like Robert Carter. I'm sure you're familiar with him, but yeah, I mean, I got a pretty privileged experience in the AAU circuit in that respect, you know, because I know a lot of teams, you know, they're kind of backed by their families. We managed to be sponsored by Under Armour, so I still have some gear from back then, you know, and it's lasted. But I must say, you know, those early Under Armour shoes were rough. We ran through a couple of them, but it was cool.
Right. Now, you were all-state high school basketball player. How did you end up at Georgia Tech?
Well, I mean, I was fairly highly recruited, I would say, in the respect of being really where I wanted to play, level wise. And it's funny, like I had, you might be familiar with Kayla and AJ Davis. So they're twins out of Atlanta as well. And Kayla, we're all in the same class. She committed to Georgia Tech. And that following week, I had my official visit. And the week after that, AJ had his official visit. And, I had a pretty solid official visit. And that same week that AJ was going to be in Atlanta, I was planning to go to Miami. And, I'm like, yo, I want to experience this official visit. Like, it's Miami. I've never been to Miami. I wonder what it's like. But all in all, I was like, you know what? Like, I'm not about to play with this fire. Like, I know these twins, they probably want to go to the same school. AJ and I played the same position. And ultimately, like, I want to go to Georgia Tech. So I ended up committing after my official visit. And really, it had a lot to do just with, like, the connections and the network that Georgia Tech had that not only, worked for themselves, but also overlap with the high school that I went to at Marist School. So those two networks really, sorry about that, I got a call. Yeah, those two networks really really influenced my decision alone. And on top of that, I mean, playing in the ACC is really the level that I wanted to be at.
And were there any other schools that were close? What other schools that you had on your radar that you were heavily considering outside of Georgia Tech?
I would say Clemson, Miami, Tennessee, Memphis. It's funny, Coach Passner, who ended up being my senior year coach, was at Memphis at the time too. So he ended up coaching me. He ended up recruiting me a little bit, and ultimately I ended up playing for him and with him. So that was ironic. But yeah, I narrowed it down to like 4 schools really, and Georgia Tech really, I was just the most comfortable with them, and they were in the league that I wanted to play in.
Right. So you ultimately chose Georgia Tech, which is in the ACC, and the ACC is known as the premier conference in America year in and year out. If not number one, it's pretty much number 2. Can you take me back to your first ACC game, and what was that like for you?
Man, I can't really tell you the exact team that we played, but I can talk to you about the first season and how that really opened my eyes to how much better I needed to get. You know what I mean? Like, my first year, we had guys like Trey Golden, Marcus Georges-Hunt, Daniel Miller, Robert Carter, a team that I would consider to be an NCAA tournament caliber team. We were coached under Brian Gregory, and at the time I was like a 3-4. So I played behind guys like Marcus and Robert. And I saw the court, but it was also like in a role that I had never really had to embrace before. Coming out of high school, you have some things to work on, but at the end of the day, you want to be a strong contributor. But my strong contribution was, one, making sure my teammates got better in practice and we were healthy, bringing energy to the game when I am played, and just like not turning the ball over at the end of the day, so it was really just kind of a very simple role that allowed me to lead in future years, where I was the team captain my final 2 years. And it's hard to be a team captain if you had never really, kind of held the roles of each player in a team. You know what I mean? So it kind of helped me be a better leader that first season with Georgia Tech, and
yeah. So take me back now. Did you have any jitters the first time on the road at Duke and Carolina?
Yes, I did. I I remember, I think it might have been the year with Jabari Parker. He was a freshman. That squad, they had a lot of firepower. Rodney Hood, I remember just guarding Rodney. I was like, yo, this might be the toughest player that I've had to guard. And between Rodney and Jabari, it's like you got the most skilled player and then the most powerful player in the ACC probably at my position. So, yeah, there's levels of jitters, but it's also more like, yo, we trying to beat these guys, like we're trying to win. And I hadn't beat North Carolina nor Duke until my senior year at home, and we had a really strong stretch. So yeah, as a freshman, you got a little bit of jitters for sure, mainly because you have the seniors that are like, yo, don't mess this up. Like, we got to be sharp. You don't want to let your team down is the main thing. It's not so much the other guys. It's like, yo, I want to pay respect to the guys that have been going through this the past couple of years. Give them the opportunity to win the game. So, yeah.
What would you say your biggest challenge was as a freshman in the ACC? If you look at that entire season, what would you say your biggest challenge was?
My biggest challenge was probably balancing the workload of one, being a student athlete at Georgia Tech, and also wanting to put myself in the position to be trusted by my coach. That meaning, putting the extra time in with film, putting the extra time in with practice, being there early, staying there a little bit later, and then just building that reputation with my teammates. So trying to balance and juggle the two was tough, because Georgia Tech it's a high level institution. And although we're provided tutors and a little bit of extra help where we can get it. At the end of the day, we still have to produce in the classroom, because you still have your eligibility. And I had some teammates throughout the years that lost their eligibility, and it ultimately ended up hurting the team. No matter how much how good they were, if they weren't eligible, then you're technically not helping the team at all. So really juggling those two worlds was a huge challenge for me that I had to overcome. So
okay,
yeah.
So you definitely had a solid four years at Georgia Tech. After your senior season, man, you were afforded the opportunity to play the NBA Summer League with the Charlotte Hornets. Looking back at yourself when you came in as a freshman to your senior season, then having this opportunity to play in the NBA Summer League, take me back to your mindset, man, when you were with the Charlotte Hornets doing that. Actually, down in Orlando.
Yeah, it was in Orlando. So, I mean, I'll start just from, that first NBA workout, my one and only NBA workout at that. And I was like, you know what? What do I have to lose? I'm going to go out here. I'm going to go hard. I'm ready. I know that I'm ready. I've been preparing for this. So I got out there, and it was actually the same workout. That was one of their lottery picks. And I think that's really what helped me stand out, is I pretty much locked them up when we ran ones. And, I brought the good energy. I made sure that, not in a obnoxious kind of way, but I made sure to show my respect to the club, the team, to make sure they knew that I was appreciative to be there. And, that whatever happens. I'm ready to make it work. So I got the invite down to Orlando, and it was a huge learning opportunity for me. I mean, guys like Joe Bryant, I was able to watch him play, and I got the opportunity to play as well, which actually got me my first job in Italy. So that was an amazing opportunity, an amazing experience that I want to experience again.
What would you say the time that you had down in Orlando, not just during the games, but during the practices, what would you say the biggest difference is in playing in that setting versus playing in the setting at Georgia Tech?
There's no time is of the essence, so there's no time to get any detail wrong. It's like, these coaches, they're going to say things one time, and you need to pick it up and you need to be on point with it, because at the end of the day, you're trying to show your value to the team more so than, you're the guy right next to you. You're all fighting for that spot on that roster. So really making the job easier for the coaches, allowing them to not teach as much, but also being open to being coached is really what I noticed would help really any player that is in that position. So, yeah.
And so, after the NBA Summer League, you got, like you said, you got an opportunity to play basketball overseas. What was it like for you signing that first pro contract? Was it a dream come true for you? How did you feel when you signed on a dotted line?
I mean, honestly, like I didn't really know what to expect going over there. I just knew that, I wanted to play at a high level and ultimately get back to the States. You know what I mean? Like that's kind of how I saw it initially. And, I was offered from a very attractive team. They played Euro Cup, which is it's a league where, you're able to travel to different countries around the world and playing these great arenas, play against these great teams. So I was like, in my mind, I'm like, yo, like, let's do it. Like, I just came out this NBA Summer League. Yeah, we have a couple other teammates that play in the league. But at the end of the day, I'm expecting to come in and play, So I get there and, we have an OG coach. We have a solid team, and good players at my position as well. But ultimately that season, I didn't really get very much opportunity to show what I feel like I had to offer. And at the time, I just had to accept that I wasn't as good as I needed to be for that coach to trust me. We had guys that were being, paid hundreds of thousands of dollars. Meanwhile, I'm a rookie coming out, just really wanting an opportunity to play. And it didn't really, it was kind of like a reality check for me. Like, whoa, like no matter where you come from, you still have to kind of prove yourself. Especially coming from, as an American coming overseas, because they start taking into consideration, like how is he going to adjust? Is he going to be, a problem? Is he going to add value to us? Is he going to be consistent? So, which are all things that I feel like I exemplified. And I wouldn't say that like that league was bad for me, but I think that coming out, I probably should have gone to, if not a regular, Serie A Italian team, maybe even a Division II team, just to really establish myself, make sure that I'm in the game playing, to really show the world what I could do, So that's those are a couple things that I learned from that rookie season in particular.
And then the injury bug hit, and you spoke about it a little bit at the beginning of the show. What did you? How have you been dealing with the injury bug, and what do you expect when you're 100% healthy? And you may be 100% healthy now, but what are your expectations?
Yeah, I mean, injury really kind of came out of the blue. I never really had a huge injury before, but ended up causing me to really stay in Spain almost, how long is that? Maybe 6 months longer than I expected. So generally I would leave in May, but I was there up until damn near November, almost. So that was a challenging time because, I'm expecting to come home. I'm expecting to, go up in divisions in the Spanish league. I was getting some looks from, ACB teams, which is, I would love to play, first division Spain. But now I'm in a position where, one, I was hurt, so I didn't play last year. And two, this whole coronavirus thing is causing salaries to drop. It's causing sponsorships to fall off. So now I'm in the mindset like, man, like everyone's taking a pay cut, but on top of a regular pay cut because of what's going on, I have to now prove myself to be, like you said, 100% healthy, which I am, to these teams that are already kind of skittish just in general, So I'm grateful that I was able to have some film from previous years leading up to this to show them, this isn't my first time coming over to Europe. This isn't my first time understanding how the game has changed over there. So I have that advantage. And yeah, at this point, I want to prove to myself that I can make the comeback. You know, it's not so much like, oh, like I want to, you know, make all this money like this year. It's like, no, I want to know that like the work that I put in is validated and I'm still at the same level, if not better than what I left it before the injury, you know, so.
Okay. All right, Q, I want to switch gears for a few seconds, man, to get your thoughts on a few things, man, that are going on in the world right now. You know, we've all seen what's been going on with the COVID-19 and some of the social unrest that has been going on. But there's this thing, man, with HBCUs versus PWIs. You see the kid just committed to Howard University over schools such as Kentucky. You know, some of the big name schools, man. How do you feel about this trend, man? And well, do you think it'll become a trend? And if so, what do you think about it?
I think that it's a trend now, and I think it'll continue to be a trend, especially when these HBCUs start getting more funding to really, you know, take on these big time athletes. You know what I mean? Because you know, Kentucky and Duke and North Carolina, they already have these huge funds that are ready to market these players. You know, so I think that it's great that these players are recognizing one, their influence on just the game itself, and realizing that, you know, they do have power with their name, they do have power with their game. So really funneling that back into our Black community is empowering, and I think that players should take advantage of this time. One, you know, I hope that it's all for the right reasons, and two, I mean, if they don't think that they're going to get, you know, the same recognition that they would if they had gone to Kentucky, then they're mistaken. I think they will get the recognition that they desire. And at the end of the day, these NBA programs, these professional teams, they want the top level athletes. They want the top level kids. They don't really, sure, they care about, you know, who you play, but at the end of the day, like, your game's going to speak for itself. So, I mean, I commend the guys that are taking these steps, because they're kind of putting the spotlight on themselves even more so, you know, and I think that's empowering. So, I mean, I wish I was able to do something like that, you know, especially if you can get a couple of your buddies, like, yo, like, I'm not saying that they're going to be the Fab Five, but get a couple of top tier athletes, top tier freshmen to go to the same school. That's going to be a statement. So I hope that kind of grows into something that shows how much bigger basketball is than itself, if you know what I mean.
Right. As a young Black athlete, what went through your mind when you saw the George Floyd situation?
It's really tough to say, because I know immediate people that were friends with George and were friends with, you know, Stephen Jackson in particular. So I feel like, you know, that could have been you, that could have been me. And at the end of the day, there have been situations of friends that I know of immediately that have been, you know, racially profiled and stopped by the police and actually, you know, prosecuted, so to speak, due to these injustices. And I mean, they're in just everyday situations where now I'm kind of looking over my shoulder. I'm checking on my friends to make sure that they're okay. Even more now, you know, that it's been publicized and videoed. So, I mean, the whole situation is really tragic. That's the word that I would describe it as. And it's tragic and revealing as to how the Black community, one, is able to come together, but two, is also being, you know, unjustly treated upon in our country. So
Right.
I hate that, deaths and tragic stories have to kind of shed light on all the junk that's been in our system. But I really hope that, and I see that, change is happening slowly but surely. We just have to keep our gas on the pedal and not get distracted by, these new things that are coming out, with us being stuck at home. There's always going to be something new like the NBA started today. Like, I hope that the NBA players will use this as a platform we're staying at it. You know what I mean? Like, we're trying to find ways to even the playing field, in the most basic ways that we're all seeing. Like, that's what we're asking for. We want justice for George Floyd. We want justice for Breonna Taylor and all the others that have been, just taken advantage of and unjustly done upon. So again, my prayers go out to the Floyd family, and I'm actually starting an initiative that would be donating to the Black Lives Matter Foundation. So we all have our ways of being able to kind of be a part of the movement and be a part of change. So yeah.
I got a few more questions, man. I'm gonna let you get out of here, man. Should college athletes get paid?
I think so, yes. Based on, their likeness and like that. That's kind of why I mentioned that these student athletes deciding to go to these HBCUs could get a lot of recognition. Is if something like that does happen, that's us empowering our Black community even more so. You know what I mean? Like, I think that we should definitely be pushing for these initiatives, because, I mean, not to say that there's good players all over in different races, but majority of these revenue bringing players are African American. They are Black at the end of the day, and I think it's our responsibility to guide these student athletes when that time does come, so that we can strategically keep that money in our community and grow it. You know what I mean? But I do think they should be paid. We make way too much money for the NCAA and our institutions and individually for us to be getting, regular meal plans and being hungry at 11 o'clock at night.
Exactly. What does Quinton Stephens have off the court? Any off the court opportunities that you're working on or that you currently have right now?
Yeah, I partner with actually my high school teammate David Honora. He went to Cornell and got his master's at UConn. We started a training program called Twin Towers Training that we started off here in Atlanta, and we're really, I guess you can call it, franchising it to other duos of professional athletes and professional basketball players that want to start training using our template. So I have that. That really kind of started with this whole quarantine process. Well, it started before the quarantine process, but something that we've started back up now that things are opening up a little bit more. And then I have my own company called Treasure Quest Effect. And our most recent project is a partnership with the Atlanta Beltline here in Atlanta, where we're going to start a treasure hunt that includes local and international artists painting these boxes that allow donations and proceeds to go towards Black Lives Matter Foundation. So I'm looking forward to the launch with that. And those are the two main things that I've been focusing on over the past couple of months.
All right, man. Good stuff, man. This is the last thing, man. And you got to get this right, man. You got to get this right. What do you know about Lethal Weapon 3?
What do I know?
You gotta get it right, man.
You caught me right now.
Hey,
Tell me. We got Brian Oliver. We got What's his name? Why am I blanking right now? We got B.O. We got his name. His face is in my mind right now. I cannot think of it for the least.
When he watches this, he's not gonna like it. He's not gonna like it. If you butcher this, he's not gonna like it.
Is Marvin Lewis? He's a part of Lethal Weapon?
No, man. Come on, man. Brian Oliver, Kenny Anderson, and Dennis Scott.
Dennis Scott. Oh my God. Well, I messed up. Kenny.
Yeah,
Lethal Weapon 3. I knew B.O. and I are close, but Kate, yeah, you're right.
Yeah, those were the good old Georgia Tech days down in, they call it the Thriller Dome.
The Thriller Dome, I know it.
When they were playing in the dome.
I know it. They stopped the dome. They turned into the Coliseum right before my freshman year.
Okay. All right. Well, that's good stuff, man. Give everybody your Twitter handle, Facebook, Instagram, where they can find you. Anything else people need to know about you to support you.
Okay, yeah. My Instagram is Ice Stephens, but I really appreciate if y'all follow Treasure Quest Effect. That's Treasure, regular Treasure, Quest with a Q, Effect. And you'll be able to, interact with the art along the Atlanta Beltline and throughout Atlanta right now. So that'd be awesome. I'd love for you all to interact with the art, and hopefully it'll add value to your day. But I'm glad that we were able to get on this, Miguel. This is awesome.
Well, Quinton, man, I appreciate your time, man. I know you're gonna do well your next opportunity playing basketball, man, and keep doing the things that you're doing off the court, man. And we'll definitely link up again the next time I'm down in Atlanta. Hopefully I'll be down there whenever this COVID-19 subsides. But wishing you luck, man, and continued success, man. And I'll speak to you soon.
I appreciate that. We'll be in contact.
All right. Sports Talk with PlayerAgent3.